Last week it was Roma on top of the standings. We celebrated here. We talked about it in a way here on the Calcio guys for Gianni, and now this week it's Milan back on top. Topsy turvy Serie A season so far here on the Calcio guys. Gianni, Adriano, I'm Nicholas. You could follow us on all your favorite podcasting and social media platforms. You know it all: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Guys, how's it going?
I'm doing okay.
It's going
I don't know
good.
if I don't know if you wanted to go first, Adrian, or not.
Nah, it's going good. I just froze my balls off outside because my mom thought it was a good idea to put Christmas lights on at this hour. But besides that, guys, we're doing good. If you're a Montreal listener, you know it's a bit fucking cold outside, but it's that holiday time. It's a stress time. So, but yeah, happy to be back talking culture with my guys.
Reaching the end of fall, winter's right around the corner.
That's it.
Apparently, Google says it's 0, but I went out today. It feels a lot colder than 0.
Yeah, with the wind chill for sure.
Yeah, it's cold. It's gonna be cold this weekend. Minus 18 on Sunday.
Jeez,
Bundle up, boys. Bundle up.
That's it. Put your scarf, put your mitts, put your toque, whatever you gotta do, guys. Do it because it's getting cold.
Next year, you're gonna put the Christmas lights up in July to avoid this.
Oh my God! Every year it's a different story. But let's enough about that. More about Calcio. That's what the listeners are here for. So let's get going.
Nobody's going to be putting up the Scudetto lights anytime soon in the Serie A with the way the season's going. No. We'll talk about it, but I want to talk quickly about Coppa Italia because there were games today. But I do want to just ask, guys, is it me or does it feel like there's zero hype about this tournament? I know it's never been like the biggest fan favorite, but even the way the Serie A is promoting it, it feels bare. Like I checked Instagram today and I saw Atalanta beat Genoa 4-0. They had a morning game, well, at least morning for us. And I didn't know about it. You know, okay, I could have checked social media, maybe be a bit more active, the schedule of Coppa Italia. But, you know, even Juve's game yesterday, it's like guys are there, they show up, do the job, and go home. It's I know it's round of 16 and everything, but it has that different vibe. Maybe not so much for Inter today, 5-1 against Venezia. But it's, you know, it's a tournament that, you know, there's always going to be criticisms, right? But it's a tournament that I believe it's only Serie B and Serie A, Serie B, if I'm not mistaken. I forget if there's Serie C teams involved in this. I would like to see maybe a bit more depth, deeper leagues, kind of like England, where you have these random teams hosting Man U in the what was it, the FA Cup. Maybe we could see that more. Maybe we could see I don't know. What's the team name from your town, Johnny? Is it Audax Cervinara?
Audax Cervinara.
Maybe we could see them play against Napoli in the round of 64 or something.
FC,
I don't know.
Let's get Casablanca FC in there.
It's like now we're going to Eccellenza. Now we're going to Eccellenza.
But I don't know if you guys feel the same about the Coppa Italia. If you think that, you know, maybe there could be a better format instead of just always the same thing every year. Round of 16 is always the top teams against bottom teams in Serie A.
Yeah, I just to bounce off what you were saying, Nick. I think I feel like the hype or the buzz, if you will, kind of went down over the years. Like I think it's been like a slow process. Like I remember back in like even the early days of the podcast, you know, like even 2015, 2016, 2017, like those years. I don't know. Maybe it was just because maybe we were a bit younger, so we kind of felt a bit more attached to it. I don't know what it is, but I felt there was a bit more. I don't want to say relevance because I think the relevance will always be there because it is a cup at the end of the day. But I don't know. It just feels like it's. I guess you can say kind of gone down, but at the same point, like the round 16, it's like nobody's really like fighting hard. Like I mean, once it gets to, you know, the semis and then the final, I think that's when you kind of see a bit more of the show, a bit more of the lights. You know, the Olympico is always. When it's hosted there, it's always obviously a big event. So I think but before we get into those points, it's just another game in the schedule midweek. You know, for these clubs that are ultimately fighting for more. If it be the Scudetto, if it be, you know, fighting in Europe. So but like we've said timeless amount of times on this podcast, guys, you know, these guys play so much. These players. Throughout the calendar year, if it be with their clubs internationally, different competitions. You know, you mentioned off air a bit, Nick, before. You know, there's Super Copa in a couple of weeks. Add another games in a different country, right? Like it's a lot. So I feel like it's maybe plays a factor into, you know, the lesser buzz or lesser relevance, if you will, at this stage of the tournament. But yeah, like Serie A versus Serie B team today, Inter versus Venezia, like you saw the drop off. So I guess that's kind of what you I guess it's what is expected. Because I think there are Serie C teams
Four.
at the beginning of the stages, no? Like
Four in the preliminary round. So I just found that out. The rest
yeah,
is City B, City A.
yeah.
Yeah.
But the chances of them, advancing are obviously so slim that we don't get to see that, Juve Stabia versus Napoli, right? That type of game or whatever the case may be. So maybe there's a way to expand it. Maybe there's a way to format it in a better way to make it a bit more of that underdog story. I don't know if that's really going to please the crowd, but these guys play already a lot, so I don't see that changing anytime soon.
Well, my honest belief is that usually there's a lot of hype when you see a team that's, not Scudetto favorites to actually go far and try to achieve for that trophy. Like last year, Bologna winning it was actually very nice to see. Like it's you
Yeah,
want
it was a different story in the
Yeah.
history of the tournament.
it's like you rather see those type of teams win this type of trophy, and I think the hype died out for us because ever since, let's say if you want to go from the podcast, since the start of the podcast, ever since then, like Milan has won
One.
one Scudetto.
Yeah.
Napoli's won 2 Scudetti. Like our team, we now know that our team is capable of winning the league and is competitive enough to win the league. So like our sights are on like what the like for Juve was winning the league at the time. So like it was, you know what I mean? And it's like now it's like we know what our team is able to achieve. That's what we're always aiming for now. Before we were like, well, I'll take a Coppa Italia because it's better than nothing, right? But now it's like, no, we're capable of winning Scudetto. Let's go for it.
Yeah.
I would like to see Roma win the 10th Coppa Italia. That would be nice to get their 10th and see if it's true, if there is such thing as the rumored silver star, as like the old wives' tale likes to say. But
Well, just to bounce off what you guys are saying. Even I don't know if it's I didn't look into it, but in the Napoli game after they advanced against Cagliari today, they were saying it's the first time in what 5 years or something that they hadn't got past the round of 16 or something. I don't know if that was accurate. I didn't look into
no,
it.
that makes
But
sense because last time they won was in 2020 during a pandemic.
in 2020. So yeah, like they haven't even. So there you go. Like and what was it last week when we were speaking to Presidente Marcel. Milan hasn't won the thing since 03. Like it's a tournament that has a cup that's kind of escaped a lot of these bigger teams. I guess you can exclude Juve because they had that run of dominance, but it seems like it's kind of escaped some of these other bigger teams. The Milans, the Romas, the Napolis of the world. So it's again, I don't know if that has to do with just putting your eggs into that Scudetto basket, like Johnny was alluding to, or other factors, or just paid less attention to the tournament. But nevertheless, I think if and when you do win it, I think obviously it's a big joy. So, but I think we'll only see that type of hype come the later stages of the tournament.
Yeah, I mean it was interesting today. Napoli with the shootout win, penalties over Cagliari. I don't know if you had a chance to watch it, Johnny, or if you were working.
I was working, unfortunately, so I didn't get a chance to watch it.
Yeah,
I saw some of it. I didn't see the whole thing personally. I saw the penalty shootout. It was a bit crazy. It went the distance. What was it, 10-9, I think, on penalties, on PKs.
That's what I got. I got something crazy like that.
Yeah.
and then it was funny because obviously when they post the score, it just showed 10-9, and then below that like 1-1 or whatever it was. 2-2.
Yeah, 1-1. Yeah.
But
it was crazy because as soon as they went to PKs, I was like, Napoli had Vanya Milinkovic-Savic in nets, and he's just been a monster. Not only just in Serie A or just regular matches and in-game play. He's been lights out for penalties as well. But this shootout, it was like not his to be. Ultimately, he ended up getting the win at the end, they went the distance, and he ended up finally making a save at the end. But it was a bit strange. I thought he would have done a lot better. I guess again, it is Coppa Italia, so the importance, the level of play, the hype that we just alluded to earlier, I guess, is kind of fizzled out. But that was like the only thing that I kind of saw in that. I guess for Napoli fans, it was good to maybe see Lorenzo Luca get on the board
Yep,
after
finally.
his
That was big.
struggles. But yeah, even Cagliari, I mean, a good fight. I got to give it to them, a good fight. So what was it? Sebastiano Esposito scored to put it to penalty, sorry, and ultimately it came down to two missed penalties. One being that it hit off the crossbar, I think it was, and the other one it was finally saved at the end by Vanya. So, but a good fight from Cagliari, a team that has constantly been, I think overlooked in some of these games and some of these matches. So it was good to see them put up a fight, and it put Napoli on the ropes there for a second, Johnny. I would have to say.
I mean, yeah, it was definitely something to like honestly be worried about, but just from judging from like what I saw from the scoreline, saw from the stats, haven't had a chance to watch the highlights yet because they haven't been uploaded. I feel like the vibe that I got was obviously Cagliari wanted it longer. They want longer. They wanted it more. Like that's longer. I guess we'll add it to the repertoire. But they wanted it more because, like as we've said before, usually the Coppa Italia is a trophy that teams that are not Scudetto contenders will push their hardest for because it is some silverware to bring home. And I feel like it is a way to help you, boost yourself and develop more hype to become a Scudetto contending team or a team that's want to push into the top four. Like look at Bologna. Bologna now is Coppa Italia winners. They're competing for top four. Like they're second year in a row in Champions League. You know what I'm saying? Like is it because of just what the team currently has? Is it because certain players are just playing well above their minds? We don't know, but it's nice. It's nice for those teams, the non-Scudetto contenders, to win and push for because it's some form of glory. And you also have to beat some good teams to get to it too. It is a trophy at the end of the day. It is a trophy.
It's even like the Fiorentina, like in years past, kind of pushing till the end there. And I mean, obviously they didn't win, but those years of them kind of giving the bigger teams, if you will, a run for their money and pushing to the finals and semifinals and whatever it was there. But it's every now and then I think you're gonna get that. I think even Atalanta, right? If I'm not mistaken, in years past, I think made a push.
2019.
Yeah. So I mean, you're not gonna.
I don't. The Europa League winners.
Yeah, no, and there you go, right? So I think it's for all these stories and what we're trying to get at. Our point here is, I think it's a combination of things. I don't think it's because we went far in the Coppa Italia is why we're winning, Europa League titles or making it to top four or going to Champions League. I don't think it's only that, but it plays a factor. I think if you want to take the Bologna aspect, I think they've been overlooked. I think that's helped. There's less pressure there, if I'm honest, and it's been a good mix of good coaching and a good system in place, and players buying in and everybody at the club buying in to what the end goal is. So, and you know what, respect to them. I know they they had to take a trophy away from my Milan, but it was justified, right? It was merited, and they went on and won. So. Again, I don't know if we'll see that again this year. We'll have to see. I think Bologna plays. Was it Parma
tomorrow? Milan Lazio rematch.
Yeah,
well, at least from the weekend.
Yeah,
and then
we'll see.
I just had it up, but there's more games in January. Roma, Torino in January, Fiorentina, Como in January. So I don't know who comes up with these schedules. All I'm going to say is last thing about this topic. We used to have different format where even Serie D teams were included, more Serie G teams were included in 2017. I'm sure you guys remember Pordenone taking Inter to penalties.
Infamous
cult favorite that game. But back to Serie A, guys. Gianni, I feel like every time someone asks you, Roma or Napoli, who do you cheer for? You always say, it depends who needs to win more. And I feel like Roma needed the win more this weekend because if they won, they would have been in first place. Napoli wins, and they're not in first place. So now Adriano's team's in first place, and neither of yours are on the top. How do you feel about that, Gianni? And what did you make of the Derby Del Giannini?
It was a game where Roma dominated. It just couldn't basically finish in the final half, in the final third. It's the final half. In the final third. Like that was the issue with this game for Roma. You know, getting there, getting in the like where they have to finish, getting to the area where they have to finish, and they just couldn't. They couldn't be clinical. They dominated possession. But the thing is, you dominate possession, but you don't have any high scoring danger chances. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was nothing threatening for Napoli to handle. Napoli actually had the much more dangerous opportunities. Conte's counterattacking was working very well for them. They weathered the storm, and then from there were able to be clinical. And obviously, the goal came from the counterattack. McTominay with a nice little draw, little pass to split the D to Neres, and Neres just tucked it in.
Funny, Hoyland, no? Or was it McTominay?
Huh?
Was it Hoyland or McTominay?
Oh, Hoyland, my bad. I was
Hoyland,
thinking
right?
the long hair.
The other blonde.
Sorry. Thank you for correcting me. Because
no problem.
Because obviously McTominay, now that he's in Italy, he looks so like
he's all spaccone now. McTominay is all spaccone.
McTominato.
McPomodoro. McFrat al sneaker. I can't. That joke was funny. But one thing that is concerning now, if you're a Romanista, is that 3 out of your 4 losses this season have come against big teams: Inter, Milan, and Napoli. You know, and then you lost to Torino because Simeone is, I think, a very underrated striker, but that's just me, right? But that's like, if you want to be part of the big dogs, you have to beat the big dogs. You know what I'm saying? Like the goal has always been top 4. It's always been top 4 because they have been missing top 4 for the longest time. And I still say that's what it is. The Scudetto push is nice. Don't get me wrong. It's a bonus at this point. It's a bonus. But the main goal is to get it back at the Champions League and get that Champions League funding. That's the reason why Gasperini was brought in. That's the reason why you take risks on players like Dybala, you know, and you just go with it, right? You try to keep a consistent core. You know, like now you identify Svilar as part of that core, Sule, Dybala, Mancini, like, you know what I mean? Like you kind of are establishing, like Cristante's been there for so long, like you're kind of establishing like a core group of guys that are going to be I want to say the pillars, in the sense of like they're so good that you can't replace them, but it's like these are guys that, you know, we can feel like as if we can get consistency from, right? So we don't have confusion year in and year out. And you're losing those really important games. It sucks because it's like one thing that's been Roma's issues this entire season is offense. You know, it's something that we talked about before. The lack of goal, even though they are, you know, in 4th place right now, like they have 15 goals in 13 games. You know, and like the other teams in the top 4, you have Inter with 28, which is crazy. You have Napoli with 20, and you have Milan with 19. You know, like you're scoring barely above a goal a game. You can't really win or do much when you're doing that. You have to bring that ratio just a little bit higher, just a smidge. You know, defensively great, but because that's Svilar just, you know, bailing the team out, you know, as much as he could. Like, and the back line is still doing a good job too. Like, I don't want to discredit them too. Mancini, you know, playing in the league is something different than Mancini on the national team. But
Dika too is pretty impressive.
Yes, but besides that, it's like if you want to compete in this top 4 spot, you have to beat the other people in the top 4 to stay there.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, it's
totally agree.
It's tough because like that, the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd place are all your losses. You lost to Milan, you lost to Napoli, you lost to Inter. And then obviously Torino, but Torino's in 13th place. So I think that's the storyline that if you're a Romanista, you're kind of looking at, where it's like, okay, good. Like, they're getting their results against the team they should be getting their results. But these crucial games, these crucial like positioning games, right? You're losing 1-0 every single. Actually, is it 1-0 every single one? It was 1-0 Napoli,
1-0 Milan.
and then it was 1-0 Inter. Yeah, so you lost 1-0 to all of them. You know what I'm saying? It's just you got to turn a couple of those into draws if you want to stay in the fight.
At the very least.
And what's crazy, you're saying it's 4 1-0 losses, and they have 7 goals against all season.
Yeah.
So in 9 wins, they've allowed 3 goals.
Yeah.
While scoring 15. So it's almost like a Jekyll and Hyde situation with Roma, because 9 wins, 4 losses, no draws. It's win or lose.
Win or lose.
Yeah. And the losses aren't blowouts. That's what's really fantastic. It's it's just the other team was more clinical than you are. But it just goes to show that they're lacking something in terms of transitioning the game into offensively. You dominate possession, sure. You probably get an opportunity, but there was no clean chances. There was no scary opportunities, right? Like when it got to the final third, nothing came of it. And this is so different to what we've seen at Gasparini in the past. I think it was what was it? During the pandemic, I think it was 5 years ago, Atalanta had 100 something goals at the end of the season.
Yeah, some crazy amount. I remember.
Do
you think it's because he doesn't have the, and I don't want to make it an excuse, but do you think it's because he doesn't have the players to produce at that level, or is it something else in your opinion?
I think right now he hasn't. I think it's what it is that he hasn't established his full system in just yet, or if he wants to establish a system. Hold on, let's see here.
They had 90 goals in 2020, 2021.
Yeah, and 98 in 2019, 2020.
Oh, okay, Jesus Christ. Yeah, there you go. Almost 100 goals.
Almost 100 goals.
Was it five came against Milan, Adri, right before Christmas in 2019?
Yeah.
Was it
Why do you have to bring that one up?
It's
a game that's burned in my mind. I remember
that's the one where he was hopping, and then after we won the Scudetto, we started hopping. But yeah, no, you're right.
But Atalanta was scoring at a pace, guys, at 2.58 goals a game that year.
Yeah,
think about it. Like you're scoring at least 2 goals each game.
But
they had going up against.
They had the players that were, again, I think, bought in and rolling on all cylinders, because I think the problem for Roma is, and John, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like their attackers, Dovbyk, we're still waiting. There's
nothing fantastic about
right. The Fergusons of the world, we're still waiting for it to kind of unlock a bit. Sule can only do so much offensively. You're getting some help from the midfield. Okay, Dybala, it's 1 in, 1 out. He's on or he's off.
That's what it is.
So
you don't have a good offensive attacking mid that is going to be that playmaker that that Papu Gomez, that Malinovsky, like that
Ruvan Zapata,
you know what I mean?
Ilicic, the guys that Atalanta teams had it.
Yeah, that had the offensive midfielder driving it. Like Pellegrini is trying to, for a 3rd year in a row, is trying to find himself again. I don't think he's ever. I think at this point now, it's like he's not.
Still keep on looking.
Yeah, I think at this point it's like, buddy, forget about it. Just go become a defensive midfielder at this point. You know what I'm saying? And then you said it perfectly. Like you're going to be waiting on Ferguson, sure, but how long can you wait? Maybe you can give him some time, but Sule can't do it on his own. When you get Dybala back, it's okay, cool. It's, you know what I'm saying? It's Dybala back to 100%. What I wanted to say, but you know what I mean.
I don't think the attackers are up there. They're. I don't know the combined goals, but your 2 center forwards, Ferguson and Dovbyk, we're still waiting. It seems like it's still waiting to be unlocked.
If you want to play in terms of a false 9, you want to talk about Dybala a Dybala of the Juve years. That's a different Dybala. That would be perfectly fine. We have a different Dybala right now. You know what I'm saying? And it's not. I'm not insulting the guy. He's still an immensely talented player, but he has to obviously reshape the way he plays. You know what I'm saying? And
he's made of paper. That's why it's hard.
So that's the thing. Until Roma gets some kind of supporting cast, not even supporting cast, like a main actor, like a main player, main character in up front. This is basically what it's going to be. Gasperini is going to have to rely on defensive excellence from Svilar, from his back line, from the defensive mids, just being smart with the ball. or else you're not gonna be or else you're just gonna be losing every game. But when you play against the teams that are strong enough to be contending for the Scudetto, they will get results. They're gonna get that goal because they have the capacity to do that. They have the capacity to break down strong backlines. That's why they're contending for the Scudetto. In Serie A, when you have strong manager versus strong manager, right? Eventually, the talent is going to be the difference maker because if the managers are going head to head and they're trying to play a chess match on the pitch, offensive, like whatever, depending on which side, defensive or offensive talent. But in this case, the offensive talent will prevail. You know what I'm saying? So that's what happened in this game. It wasn't as if Napoli was, in terms of overall performance, was the better team, but Napoli was the team that, had the more dangerous chances, the more dangerous opportunities. And at the end of the day, they got the 1-0 result, and that's why Napoli's where they are today. And Roma is sitting in third place because they were able to get the result against a big team that they needed to win against. And for the third game out of 4, but I guess you say that for third game in a row versus top 4 team, Roma lost. So I think that goes to show that, okay, well, let's aim for top 4, but we have to make sure that you can't slip up even further.
Yeah, and I think that's fine too. Like they're not there yet. I don't think many fans, including yourself, Johnny. I don't think obviously it's nice to kind of see the true fight by this Roma team and getting back to where they've been in the past. Top 4 and kind of fighting and flirting for that Scudetto range. But I don't think if they're not there yet, I don't think that's either a problem in terms of Scudetto. Top four. If I'm a Roma fan, it's a must. They were very close last year. Ultimately, it went down to the wire with Juve. It was what was it, a point, I think, difference from 4th and 5th. I think it might be similar this year. That's kind of how I predicted it before the season started. But just because they're not truly there yet, and ultimately this game, they got caught on one counterattack. They got caught on one counterattack. Kudos to Napoli for being clinical enough to capitalize on that counterattack, because a lot of these counterattacks sometimes they fizzle out because of a bonehead mistake or whatnot. But good on, and some people were saying maybe there was a foul there on Manu Kone. I think it was Rahmani there that kind of slid in there, but I think he got the ball, if I'm not mistaken. I saw it a bit on a bit of a replay there, but it was a heads up counterattack. Neres, I think, is owed a lot of credit. He's kind of the one who started to push up and then found Hoyland, and he continued his run. And you're gonna blow by Cristante. I'm sorry to say, but a guy like David Neres, you're gonna blow by Cristante, and you're gonna be able to blow by some of these defenders, because I think David Neres, it's and even the Langs of the world for Napoli, it's only recently that they've kind of been finally showing why they got brought into this squad, right? So kudos to them. I think Neres was able to slot it in perfectly, and he was obviously the match winner in this derby. But for Roma's sake, they got caught on one counter, weren't able to capitalize on the other end, and ultimately they lose 1-0. So it's these are, just to end off this point, these are the games that you're going to look back on, not only this game but the other games that Johnny mentioned, the other 1-0s to the bigs, that you're going to look back on and say, well, damn, like those are the results that if you get a draw and maybe 2 of them in a win, maybe we're singing a different tune, come the end of the season. So, but again, I don't think Roma fans should really worry. I think Napoli fans should still be level headed, because there's a long time to go still in the season. So, but I think, I don't know if in the mercato in the winter, the winter mercato, if Roma goes for an attacker, I don't know if they're going to be active this winter. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think they do.
I don't think so either. But in case they do, I think it's a center forward that of some sort that is a bit more proven or a bit less green, that is able to come in and score some more goals, because like I alluded to earlier, we're still waiting for Ferguson. He is still young. The Dovbyks, I think it's he has a good performance and then he goes on a cold streak. So I think the more consistency is what I think Roma fans are probably looking for offensively. Defensively, it's been a bit of a surprise for me. I didn't think they would be this good, to be honest with you. to call. I don't want to insult them, but I didn't think they were going to be this good. Svilar on another level this season, and he won best goalkeeper last season at the Grand Gala that they had the other night. Rightfully so. He's been lights out, and a player that really taking that next step. So we'll see what happens, but kudos to Napoli for getting the job done.
Yeah, and you're talking about defense. Roma and Como are tied best defense in the league, 7 goals against each. Only Roma, Como, and Milan have less than 10 goals against through these 13 games. And Milan is a team they've also won their last 3 wins in the Serie A have been 1-0. Their last 5 wins in the Serie A have been by 1 goal. 1-0 this weekend against Lazio, coming off the Derby performance, a goal from Leao. And it's interesting because we're talking about Coppa Italia. Milan plays Lazio. I mean, what did you see in the game, Adrian? And also, what do you think it kind of impacts the Coppa Italia game? Because now Lazio they almost have a bit of revenge coming into this game. Obviously, regardless of what would have happened, you'd think Lazio would want to win, right? But
Sure.
it's almost like that chip on their shoulder. They know what to expect, and yeah, I mean, look, 1-0. I'm just gonna say it. Allegri win. That's what you get with Allegri.
Yeah, no, and that's what it's been, right, this season or with Allegri. And Lazio, for Lazio's sake, they're obviously going to have that bit more of a bitter taste in their mouth coming for tomorrow's match after the whole hoopla and shenanigan that kind of happened in the match over the weekend. With the penalty, non-penalty, the call, the non-call, the VAR, all that BS. But in terms of the game, it was again another typical Allegri win. Nick saw it for many years at Juve, and if you kind of go back to Milan, Allegri's Milan days, first Milan stint, you kind of saw it a bit there too. But now it just repeat Cortomuso Allegri style win, and so far it's been so good. I think ultimately, I thought it would have been a bit of a different match. I thought we would be able to expose Lazio a bit more. Ultimately, it wasn't to be, but I don't think either team really did much to say, yeah, we deserve the win more than the other team. I think Milan was able to capitalize on a great play. It truly was for me a great play. Fofana, getting that ball to Tomori putting in a great cross, and finding Leao, who's kind of been able to reinvent himself a bit under Allegri as that center forward, a position that I'm not a huge fan for him, but it's kind of where we're at, and he's been able to take that role by the horns and run with it. I don't think it's hard when he gets the criticism, because ultimately he's not a true striker, he's not a true center forward, but he's been able to kind of produce at a good level. I think that's what he's up to 5 goals this season, and in Serie A this season, that's only one off the top goal scorer so far this season with 6. So it's another game where Leao plays hero for Milan, and after that goal, it's kind of lock the doors, lock the back door, the front door, the windows, lock everything, because it's going to be one of those Allegri style smother, don't let anything past, and that's pretty much what you saw up until the end. I think there were some chances. Ultimately, the biggest chance I would say for Lazio came in 2-3 minutes in, a hell of a ball in by I think it was Basic. I think it was funny who was it, Mario Hila, if I'm not mistaken, the defender, with a crazy header, and obviously once again Mike Magnan, Magic Mike, making just another great save, timely save early on in the match. Usually, you're kind of getting a little bit of the jitters out within the first 5 minutes, and Magnan was already locked in, ready to go, and making, I think, the save of the game, because that goes in. I think the game gets turned on its head right away, and we're probably maybe singing a different tune tonight on the podcast. So I think it's credit to Milan down the stretch, able to get the job done. Find a way to win. And unlike Roma, and again, not to disrespect Roma, but unlike Roma, Milan has been able to kind of get these wins against their direct rivals, these top 4 teams, these top 6, 7 teams. So, getting the wins against Roma, Napoli, Inter, all okay. They didn't lose. They didn't win against. Sorry, they didn't lose against Juve. They drew that game, but still didn't lose. Picking up this win against Lazio, so it's kind of been a bit of a different story for Milan. They're able to kind of get those wins against these tough top teams, and it's been the smaller teams, quote unquote, that they've been struggling with. So that needs to kind of get maybe ironed out. But in this match, again, it was pretty solid. Ultimately, at the end, with the penalty, that was that whole. I don't even know what to call it. It was just a mess at the end. From the referee on the field to the VAR in the room to the review to the explanation to the audio that we hear afterwards. And again, uh, I've seen so much different takes on it. Personally, I first glance, I didn't think it was a penalty at first. I didn't even realize it was a penalty at first because I didn't think it hit off of off an arm, off a hand of anybody. But ultimately, that's kind of what was originally called. They go to VAR and um, gets taken away, and the explanation was that there is a handball, but there was a foul, and that obviously erupted the Lazio faithful. But um, it's week in, week out that we kind of speak about these instances, and we know how it is in Serie A. Your team is gonna get an advantage on one of these calls one week and then get screwed the next. Just in the past couple weeks, we've been saying it on the show, right? We spoke a bit about last week with Marcello. We're speaking a bit about it today, and we go back to the Fiorentina Juve game, right? The Pablo Mari and Vlahovic incident. We kind of saw what that transpired to be. So again, for me, it's I personally I didn't think it was a foul, and personally I didn't think it was a penalty. I think it was just should have been a corner kick, or I think it ended up going out of bounds for a corner. So it should have been that, in my personal opinion, because for me that's never a foul, because that happens. You want to say Calcio is a contact sport. Those are the types of contacts you're going to have in the box. Wrestling for position, that happens every play, uh, in the set pieces and just in the midst of play. So call it a corner, call it a day. Don't go out and say, yes, it's a penalty, but I'm only calling it back because it was a foul, and then making it more than it needs to be. And again, that just you know shuts the eyes of neutrals and kind of trying to get into this sport, into this league. And it's like, man, that's how it gets called in Italy. Like, why am I going to tune into this circus? Like, unless you're a true culture fan, you kind of already are prepared and know that this type of stuff is going to happen. But for somebody that's a neutral or just trying to get into the league or into the sport, it's like, well, they called something in the Juve Fiorentina game one way, and then they called something in a different in this game. So I think it's beating a dead horse at this point, because we've said it so many times on the show, and other Serie A cultural content creators have said it as well. The lack of consistency and it truly being called one way in one game and the same in the next has always been the big discrepancy in Serie A with this officiating and these types of calls. If it be handball, if it be a foul or what have you. So until that ever gets ironed out, I think we'll continue to have these types of discussions going forward. But listen, we were, you want to say, the lucky ones. If some people, Lazio fans, are going to call the Milan fans lucky for getting away with this call, so be it. I don't think they did much more to really deserve the win, if I would have to say anything back. But maybe a draw was the right results that probably should have happened. But ultimately it wasn't to be. And I think going into tomorrow's match, that's the chip on the shoulder, the sour taste in the mouth of Lazio. The team, the fans, the city is going to kind of feel going into this match, and so we'll see what happens. I personally, when I spoke last week, I said that I think Milan should be able to handle Lazio in both matches. I still stick by that. Will we see a bit more drama this time around because of what transpired over the weekend potentially? But I think we're going to see a bit of a different lineup. I don't know about Lazio because I didn't see any projections. I didn't really look at it, but if the projections of lineups for Milan are true, we're going to see a bit of a shakeup in the lineup, which I think is makes sense, because we can't continuously play the same players week in and week out and expect uh, you know 10 out of 10 performances every time. So I think we'll probably see a Yashari start. Estupinian, I think, is going to jump back into the lineup. I think Loftus Cheek gets into the lineup. I think Ricci probably gets a start from minute one. They're saying maybe De Winter instead of Gabbia. So again, we'll see. Probably some rotation, and ultimately, I think they have to get past this Lazio team, because again, this is a tournament and a cup that has eluded Milan for so many years, like we said last week, since the early 2000s. So, and I don't want to say they're on an easier path, but they're on an easier path on the side that they're on. So if they win tomorrow, they have a chance of playing either Bologna or Parma. Ultimately, you're kind of only gonna play a big team. I think after that, if it be, I think they're on the same side as Juve, right? If I'm not mistaken, Nick.
Last time I checked, I believe so.
Yeah, they're on the same side as Juve, and who else plays on that side? Oh my God,
Well, obviously Atalanta, Juve.
it would be Atalanta, Juve.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're only going to catch a bigger team, if you will, at that stage if you advance. So for tomorrow's game, I'm hopeful for a win. I think they need to they need to make some noise in this tournament, because you make it to finals, and you've lost, you haven't advanced out of the run of 16. This time around, you had to go in through the preliminary round against Bari to even make it to this point. So listen, we're in too deep. We have to go forward, and um ultimately, I think there might be a bit more action maybe in this match. I think maybe hopefully a couple more goals scored for the neutral, right? To kind of see a bit more action. But if it be another 1-0 result at this point in the season with Allegri, that's what it's going to be, and that's what we're going to take. And the 3 points or the win in this case for Coppa Italia is the only thing that matters. So hopeful for that, and we'll see if Lazio kind of puts a bit more, more of a performance to kind of deserve more than what they got last time out. So we'll see.